Hey, welcome on into a special edition of Weekend Joe. We're going live here on Twitter and YouTube as we are talking Blues hockey with Benjamin Hochman of the St. Louis Post-Dispatch. He was there for all 6 games, Blues and Wild, as the Blues wrapped it up last night. Ben, what's going on, man? How are you?
I'm doing well. I'm all fired up by that theme music you guys have.
It's good, isn't it? Like I had nothing to do with. Like I gave them the pictures to use. Like that is far beyond anything that I am able to. I am able to do. Yeah.
I thought that was you on the cello.
No, none of that. None of that was me. As I imagine, at the Post-Dispatch, there are people that are much more talented and smarter than us that can do all of those type of things. As
right.
We just go and do the games and stuff. Yeah,
exactly.
Know your limits is what I
right.
What
Stay in your lane, all that stuff. Yeah.
So God, the atmosphere just looked to be so much fun last night down at Enterprise as the Blues wrapped it up. But let's go back in this series because the Blues were so dominant in game 1. And then game 2 and 3, it just looked like the wheels had completely fallen off. Everybody's like, oh my God, this team, it's terrible. What's going on? And then the Blues just rally and win 3 straight. So what happened between game 3 and game 4 that changed the entire makeup of the series?
Well, I think where I got him right here, man. Jordan Binnington.
Yeah.
I mean, Jordan, that's not the only reason, but they changed goalies and Jordan Binnington played really, really well in his 3 wins. You also look at some of the defensemen getting healthier. That was very important. And the Blues just played as a team in more periods than not. And I know it's a simple cliche, but in hockey, when you're trying to grind it out and cycle and slow down the other team and win playoff games, win series, well, they did that, and it was really, really impressive. And how about this real quick? I mean, has this ever happened? Has this ever happened? A team wins its first playoff game of a series with a goalie getting a shutout on the road, and then they win the series, but the other 3 games are won by his backup. How weird.
Yeah, that's if you have to, just any point, if you're having to go to your backup 3 games into a series, it usually isn't a good sign. It usually isn't a great thing. But how many teams have a Stanley Cup winning goalie just sitting and waiting in the wings? And the thing that I was saying going into that and making that move, going from Husso to Jordan Binnington was, I don't think at any point can you fault Craig Berube for any of the decisions he made, because for the last 3 months of the season, I think Husso made made it very hard to not start him in game 1 of that series, right?
There were only probably 7 or 8 NHL teams that wouldn't have started 2022 Ville Husso in the playoffs. He was playing really well. His stats, even his advanced stats, everything spoke to him playing at a high level of hockey. But games 2 and 3 we did not see that here from Press Row, and the change needed to be made. And credit Craig Berube. They don't give MVP awards to a series, and then you wouldn't give it to a coach anyway. But you could argue that Craig Berube was the Blues MVP in that first round series. He pushed all these buttons, and every button pushed was the right one. He played with only 11 forwards and 7 defensemen in numerous games there. He made the big goalie change. He shook up the lines. He separated Thomas and Tarasenko. He unlocked some offense, and it was really fun to watch.
At any point prior to the series, did you have a chance to talk to Binnington and about what his role was? What kind of, and if so, what kind of mindset was he in?
Well, I'm smiling because even when he won the Stanley Cup and he was at theoretically his most relaxed, he didn't share much, if anything, with the media, let alone when he was benched by the same team he won the Cup from. So, no, we didn't get to hear from him, but anybody with pride would have been very down in the dumps about the turn of events. But also, he can only blame himself by his play. Some of those games were duds. But to his credit, 5 of his final 6 regular season games were wins, and he went into the playoffs with some confidence. He just didn't have any playing time until, of course, the big switch.
And you can kind of, there are kind of parallel stories here with what we saw. If you go back all the way to the beginning of the season, Vladimir Tarasenko wanted to be traded away from the Blues. They didn't trade him. He came out, had a really good season, had a really good series. It's one of those cases where, okay, they're not, things didn't go my way. I'm still going to go out there and play. Jordan Binnington, similar situation. There were many points this year where he was not the number one goalie anymore on this team and wasn't at the start of the playoffs. But you know what? When he got his chance, he went in there, he played, and he won. He won 3 straight games. It shows the kind of leadership, not only from Berube, but I mean on down, that the team kind of has to keep these players from from being a complete meltdown of an organization.
Yeah, and I guess you have to credit Ryan O'Reilly too for setting the culture I was gonna say the clubhouse. That's what they say in baseball, in the dressing room for the Blues, and credit Tarasenko himself for handling this within his team and on the ice about as professionally as he could. And man, I'm sure the Seattle Kraken, who could have had him for free, were watching all season, be like, we could have had these goals on our ice. Instead, we got Mark Giordano, and he's like our best player. This is rough. So yeah, a really exciting season for Tarasenko, and that game 5 in Minnesota was one of the cooler sporting performances I've ever seen.
What's you were up there in Minnesota for the Winter Classic. You were up there for 3 of the 6 games in this series. And I know Minnesota is the hockey state. What is an atmosphere, a hockey atmosphere like up there in Minnesota?
Well, I mean, they're smart fans, and I'm trying to think of an example, but the things they clap for, it's kind of like a comparison to St. Louis when, a good play is made or a sacrifice is made, and the fans cheer for that. I mean, just walking around their rink, there's so many homages to Minnesota hockey history. And there's so much hockey history there, not just with the North Stars, but with the college hockey teams and the high school hockey teams and great players that came from there. It's a hockey hotbed, no question about it. And yeah, it's a super fun atmosphere. And I feel bad for the fans. I mean, the reality is they've been to the playoffs now, the Wild, 5 of the last 6 seasons. In all 5 of those appearances, they lost in the first round. I mean, that's pretty brutal.
Yeah, that's it's hard to continue, that high. I mean, it's also, similar to Canada, right now. I mean, what kind of drought are they on right now for winning a Stanley Cup? And that's where hockey was born up there. Yeah. So it's it's one of those. It's not a great time to kind of tout yourself as being that when you're not winning the championships. So we move on now. We're on to the next round of the playoffs. And the St. Louis needs a villain in these series, and it's easy to find one in the owner of the Colorado Avalanche for this next round. Only second round series that we know is set in stone. With those are the only 2 teams that have advanced so far. And I know you used to work in Denver. How excited are you to cover just every aspect of this series?
I'm really excited. And even if I hadn't worked in Denver, the fact that this was the team that St. Louis played in the playoffs last year and got smacked around, the fact that they get a chance at revenge is pretty exciting in and of itself. Then you look at the fact that the owner of the team is the biggest villain in St. Louis sports history, and that's saying something considering the existence of Don Denkinger. But, I mean, the reality is St. Louis had a football team, and this gentleman said, nope. He took the city's team, the fans' team, just moved it away and thought he'd get away with it. And you could say he did, but it cost him $700 million in that settlement. Yeah, the fact that he won the Super Bowl this year, that only adds fuel to the fire. Look, I mean, the St. Louis fans would be going nuts at home games, even if they were playing insert team name here. But they're playing Stan Kroenke's team. It's going to be loud. It's going to be rowdy, and there's going to be extra passion.
And just, I mean, that Avalanche team too is just so good. You can get as pissed off as you want at who the owner is, and as a fan, the players don't give a shit about any of that stuff. I mean, they might say it just to get a little hometown behind them type thing. They might just do it just to get that little hometown pop, but they don't care. They're going up against one of the best teams in the NHL, and they have to beat them 4 times now over the next couple weeks.
They want their names engraved in silver. They want to see their name in silver. And it doesn't matter who the opponent is. You got to play your butts off and play smart and play with fire in order to do that. And yeah, Stan Kroenke happens to own the team that they're going to play in this round. But I don't want to make a prediction, but gosh, the way St. Louis is playing is pretty impressive. And then you have to wonder about this layoff for the Colorado Avalanche. It actually reminds me, this is a sports example and it happens to be from Colorado as well. The baseball team, the Rockies, in 2007, they won, I think it was like 13 of their final 14, something miraculous to just make game 163. They win that in extra innings. Then they run through the DS and the LCS. And then there's like a 10-day, I don't know, it was 10 days. There's a long break before the World Series against Boston, and the magic kind of wore off. I'm wondering if the same thing will happen with the Colorado Avalanche in 2022.
Yeah, that is, and I mean, as we sit here right now, we were talking about before we started recording this. We don't know when that game one is. Maybe Monday. I would think Monday with the other ones when they're supposed to wrap up, or looking at them, because I mean, what there's 2 game 7s. No, there's 3 game 6s tonight. So we might have game 7s on Monday. I don't know if the NHL wants to throw a game 1 into a busy Monday if there's some game 7s there too. So. We haven't seen the schedule yet for that. So for Blues fans that are going out to Denver, since you are the Denver aficionado here, give those St. Louis Blues fans a place that they should go visit, go eat when they are out there in Denver for this game at the Ball Arena. No longer the Pepsi Center; it's the Ball Arena.
Right. So, are you talking about in the arena or in the city of Denver?
In the city of Denver. City of Denver. Yes. Be our tour guide.
Oh, I'm honored. I'll give you 3 places. I know you said 1. I'm going to give you 3 places: breakfast, lunch, dinner, and then boozing. Breakfast at Snooze. There's multiple locations. It's honestly my favorite breakfast place in the United States of America. Then for a burger, whether it's lunch or dinner, go to the Cherry Cricket. The Cherry Cricket. They have a jalapeno cream cheese burger that'll blow your socks off. And do people still say blow your socks off?
I think so. Yeah, it's fine. Yeah, it works.
It sounded dumb out of my mouth. And then for booze, you got to go to Don's Club Tavern. Don's Club Tavern. It's a dive bar. It's so much fun. They have a vending machine and they put in like random things. It's just a experience. So check out Don's Club Tavern after the games.
I feel like I went to Cherry Cricket. I feel like I went there last year. I made 2 trips out to Denver last year for the first time ever, and I feel like I ate a burger from there one of those days.
They've got 2 locations, one in the Cherry Creek area, which is like this fancy pants Frontenac type situation, but then they also have one right by the ballpark.
That would have, that's definitely the one I went to then, because it was right by Coors Field down there. They got a nice little, I mean, so they also, when was the last time you were out there? When's the last time you got to head out to Denver?
Twice last summer. Once for the dang first round series Avalanche Blues, and then I went to a wedding.
Okay, because now they have that big they have the big complex, the McCormick complex right across from the stadium too. That's kind of like, I don't know, I wouldn't say it's a ballpark village type place, but they have the hotels in there and they have places you could walk around inside. And we could not find the rooftop pool. We were looking for the rooftop pool that we were told is there, but we couldn't figure out how to access that when we were there last year. But I don't know.
I love how you had the confidence that you would be allowed access to the rooftop pool if you even found it.
Ben, have you have seen me in atmospheres like this? You know that if I see something I want to get to, I will somehow come up with the confidence to make my way my way up there.
Very good point.
So, all right, it's Blues and Avalanche next week. You will still be out there traveling and covering things for the Post-Dispatch, and we look forward to reading all of your work here on STL Today and in the paper itself. So, Ben, thank you so much for your time. I appreciate it.
Always fun talking with you, Joe. Have a great weekend.